We're getting close to the end, so I'll try to be quick. I'm David Alton. I'm a business development manager at ACAMP. I've done a little bit of work on both sides of the government financial support programs. I've written some applications. I've helped some of our clients work on them, and I've worked on the government side. So I've got I think, a pretty wide and a deep background on this. I thought I would try to pick out sort of a few programs, 6 programs that are pretty good fit for early stage technology companies, particularly for biomedical health types of companies. There's a real alphabet soup of companies programs out there, and I know some of them. I know most of them. I've picked out ones that I think are good fits. Basically, most of the programs at the early stage will focus on R&D kind of product development programs, and occasionally there'll be programs where you can go on a mission or a trade show kind of deal. Very rare to get anything where you can actually put the money into management. So a small company, as many of you know, it's very hard to find any salary for the principals or the managers. Financing, as has been mentioned here, is non-dilutive, and that's probably the best thing. You're not giving anything up in terms of equity. You can keep your company whole for a while, and it usually doesn't tie up your IP. And sometimes there is a benefit to Canada clause. If it's a government program, they'll say this money comes back to us in some fashion if the company is sold outside Canada. And I guess a warning, or as everyone knows, there's always a price to this. You may not give up debt, but you got to give up a fair amount of work reporting. It's paper intensive, and it really helps to be fairly organized. So I picked out 6 programs, and I think these are the big ones here. And a number of these folks who run these programs have been here off and on today. IRAP is a key program. It's been around for a long time. It's run by the National Research Council across the country. It's run by what are called ITAs, Industry Technology Advisors. I know Eric Swanson and Bob were here earlier today, and Casimir who run the program. This program offers advice. These guys are mostly technical people who understand technology. They're organized in sectors. I think there's 25 across Alberta. And of course, they also provide some levels of funding as your company progresses. They do have kind of a long-term relationship. You can work with an IRAP or a program for a long time, a number of years, and build through some levels of financial support. So that is a good starting program, focusing really on the R&D side, the product development side. The second program I'd like to talk about, I think, is probably the biggest program in Canada in terms of dollars. It's called the Scientific Research and Experimental Development Tax Credit. Now, this is called the SHRED program, if for the acronym. I think it's several $billion a year comes back to companies through the tax program, through the tax system. Generally speaking, and there's lots of little rules here, 20 to 35% of your cost, eligible costs that you spend on an R&D development program can come back to you in the following year. And if you're not taxable, it comes back in cash. And if you're taxable, it comes off your tax return. So it's a very good source of money. It is complicated. I've been through one myself. You have to be very organized. There's a science part where you describe your research, and there's an accounting part, which is fairly complicated if you're not an accountant. But again, it's a program that's well run. It's run locally. Each province has a couple of offices with special Canada Revenue Agency people running it. It's also very prescribed in terms of you apply. They'll give you an initial response in 90 days, and they process in 183 days. So it's very good, and they have service standards, which if you're a small company, you generally can get a pretty good level of service in terms of knowing where you're going with the program. And the third program is Alberta Innovation Voucher. Now, this is a program that's been through a couple of rounds. It's a new program run by Advanced Education and Technology. I don't know if anybody's here. Dan Dugich is in the back, might know something about this program. But it's a pilot program, and it's been through 2 rounds, and you get either a $10,000 or a $50,000 voucher that you take to a service provider on the government side. So it's a different kind of program. You don't get cash in your hand. At ACAMP, we have 10 or 15 companies that have redeemed their vouchers with us. And basically, it's for a wide variety of business and technical services that agency can provide. It's a very simple 4 or 5 page application. You apply and you get a response in about sort of 1 to 2 months. You're kind of in or out of the program. So it's a very good program. It's a little different in that you're not getting cash. And you also get, you have to put your own cash into the deal, but it's a 3 to 1. The voucher will fund 75% of a program once you negotiate the details, and you as a company would put in 25%. And I expect there will be another round in the spring. It is a pilot, but that's the word. There's a good chance the program will continue. Given a lot of things that are happening in Alberta, I think there's going to be some changes on the horizon, but hopefully this one will survive. The next program is a bit of a mystery. Bad joke. This is a very specialized program, and it's really in ACAMP's world to a large extent in micro and nanotechnology, but it's really product development, prototype development for micro and nano devices. But again, it's a grant program. It's run through the University of Alberta. In the past, it's been funded by Western Diversification and Alberta, the government of Alberta. At this point, I think it's just Alberta government, but it's for a prototype development program, and it allows you to go in to the university, use their nanofab to build a device. It's a pretty good program. It'll cover costs, a lot of costs in program development or product development. So these can be early stage, even researcher-driven programs, or company research, joint development kind of programs. It does require contribution from you as a company, but this can also be in kind, so it doesn't draw a lot of cash. The next one I'm talking about is a new acronym for me, AITF. That is Alberta Innovates Technology Futures. In fact, this building, ARC, is now part of that organization. And if you're aware of this,